Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is OG Reflections. As I said, if this is your first time on the channel, I am an English teacher, a writer, and a content creator, and I'm trying to stay busy, to try to stay productive. So I'm sharing some of my knowledge and experience. Hopefully, that this may help others as well along the way. Today is Friday, and as you can see behind me, it's actually the sunset, as you can see behind me. So something that we must do every Friday, which is recite Surat Al Kahf, right? Talking about Quran wise, right? Eh, It's not a must, okay, but I'd like to think that it's a must, okay. You can see that the sunset behind me, and in theory, right, it's better to recite it from after Fajr, Surat Al Kahf, till before sunset on Friday, okay. So anyway, Surat Kahf, right? The cave talks about many different stories. It talks about the boys who were persecuted, because religiously persecuted in their village or in their country, their city. So they had to leave and they stayed in a kahf, stayed in a cave. That's one of the stories, right? So they were religiously persecuted. There's another story about the two men who had gardens, right? Or one of them, actually, one of them had gardens of, water and fruit and everything, and then the next day it disappeared, okay, because his friend would tell him, just make sure to say God, ولولا إذ دخلت جنتك قلت ما شاء الله لا قوة إلا بالله. Everything is all by the grace of God. Remember to say thank you, okay. وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. So enjoy whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you, but don't forget to say thank you. لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم. Don't forget to say thank you. Don't forget to use whatever blessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you, but use it in a good way, okay. The third story, which is about Dhul Qarnayn, right? Actually, sorry, the third story is about Sayyidina Musa, Prophet Moses, Prophet Moses, and how he met, as you know, the hadith say that his name was Al Khidr. Okay, a lot of people have interpreted this to be the angel of death or one of God's angels. He could be a prophet. He could be just a very knowledgeable person. But all obviously, وما فعلته إيه وما فعلته عن أمري. He did everything by God's command. Okay, so he was a good person or a prophet or the angel or an angel or the angel of death. Regardless, he knew more than Prophet Moses. Okay, he had more knowledge, whether it could be earthly knowledge or divine knowledge, but he was given this knowledge by the grace of God, by God's command. So he knew more than Prophet Moses. And finally, story number 4, which is Dhul Qarnayn, right, which a lot of people have interpreted could be Sayyidina Sulaiman, right, Prophet Solomon, because he went to the east and went to the west. His kingdom ruled everything, and he could be able to control everything and everyone and all the animals and all the jinn. And some people say no, it was just a normal king called Dhul Qarnayn. Anyway, why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this for two reasons. The first is a verse in a surah that I want to talk about. And number two is because of a dream. Okay? So, number one, the surah is Surat Sad. Okay? Surat Sad. Again, if you're familiar with it or not, but it talks about, again, different prophets. One of them is Sulaiman. Which there's a verse in the surah in which he says what? قال رب اغفر لي وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعد. Okay, oh Allah, رب اغفر لي, forgive me, وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعدي, and give me power or rule, okay, that should not or ought not to be for anyone else من بعدي, after me. In other words, Prophet Solomon was asking God to have the most power. Why? because he's a prophet, because he's a messenger, or yeah, he was a prophet and a messenger, I believe, and he is one of the best people, the best people in God's sight. Because if anyone else was given this power, and it is easy to have this power, okay, it is possible, people could, you know, control the jinn or whatever, but they were probably going to use it in a bad way, okay? Which, who comes to mind? Who comes to mind in that case? The Antichrist, Al-Masih al-Dajjal, right? Al-Masih al-Dajjal, the Antichrist, who is not mentioned specifically by name in Surat Al Kahf. However, the end times in general, Ya'juj and Ma'juj are mentioned in what? In Surat Al Kahf. Okay. So anyway, regarding Sayyidina Sulaiman, as we were saying, every prophet was given something. Every prophet was given a specific miracle, a specific blessing, because so that so that it came already. In other words, because it may happen again that someone else may have something similar to this. Okay, for example, in the time of Sayyidina Moses, right? He was able to, by the grace of God, طبعا, he was able to change the staff, his staff, al-asa, into a snake. Okay, this is magic. Does magic still exist nowadays? Yes, magic still exists nowadays. Do people still do magic? Yes, people still do magic. Okay. Is it possible to be influenced by this? Yes, it is possible to be influenced. Okay. But we've already seen it. Why? Because Prophet Moses did it. And that was the most. In other words, so khalas, it's already been done before. It was already been done before, and it was done at the fullest and the best, and it was done by a prophet. In other words, khalas, don't be influenced, don't be tricked, don't be fooled, don't be deceived by anything that may come later on that looks similar to magic. The same thing with all the other prophets. Okay, Prophet Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Sulaiman, Prophet everybody. All the prophets were given specific miracles, specific blessings. Okay, so that it's the most, and it's the most, and it's the best, and it's done by a prophet, so that if it may happen later on, we not be influenced by it. Okay, which, as I said, brings us back to رب اغفر لي وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعد. Okay, in other words, what? Who's going to have power similar to Sayyidina Sulaiman? Who will be able to control the jinn? Who will be able to control the clouds? Who will be able to control the grass and the land? Al-Masih al-Dajjal, the Antichrist. Okay, which is very, very interesting, because they're sort of going to be neck and neck. طبعا Sayyidina Sulaiman had all this power by God's command, but the Antichrist is almost like he's going to be the total opposite. He's going to be having similar power or less, but in a bad way. He's going to use it in a bad way. Anyway, Alhamdulillah. So, because which brings us to Surat Al Kahf on Friday, and as I said, it's almost sunset. Reciting the first 10 verses of Surat Al Kahf, and reciting the last 10 verses as well, right? This is one of the ways of protecting yourself against the Antichrist when or if he appears to you. Okay, and that's why it's best to recite Surat Al Kahf every Friday in general, all of it, awwal al-akhirah, right, from the beginning to the end, to be protected, fully protected from the fitna, right, from the lure and temptation of the Antichrist. Anyway, regarding the dream, someone I knew close to me, told me about this dream, and actually he had it today. And he told me this dream today, and he told me that I can share it and stuff like that. So, in the dream, he dreamt, in the dream he was in a puddle of water, or it looked like a sea, to be honest, a sea. Okay, and he was carrying, I think, like a baby or I think a baby daughter, even though he doesn't have a daughter at that time. Okay, he's not married, but he was carrying the baby daughter on his left shoulder like that, right? And he wasn't swimming, but he was wading as in walking the sea water. Okay, and he could see the sunset, Maghrib al-Shams, right? The sunset, which is mentioned, as I said, relating to Ya'juj and Ma'juj, relating to the end times in Surat Al Kahf. Okay, and he was walking towards, and he was saying to himself, yes, this is Maghrib al-Shams, this is Maghrib al-Shams, this is Maghrib al-Shams. So, relating طبعا to Ya'juj and Ma'juj, relating to Dhul Qarnayn, when he was, traveling the east and west. Anyway, the scene shifted. This was the part of the dream, and then the scene shifted, and he found himself. It was night, and it was as if he was like in a long, very narrow street with like cafes and shops to his right and to his left. Okay, and everybody was dancing. Everybody was dancing, and everyone was living their life as if in their total oblivion. Nobody is cognizant. Nobody understands. Nobody cares about religion or whatever. Everyone's just wasting their time having fun. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and then suddenly, this guy, as he's walking, he notices to the left, right, there's a group of, it looked like as if they were soldiers or slaves, okay, as if robots, soldiers, slaved, walking in a queue, paving the way for someone to come, okay, as if they were like all blindfolded, walking in a queue, paving the way for someone important. And then suddenly this someone important appeared, and he stood up on stairs. He went up the stairs. He climbed the stairs, and he said, he was talking to everybody about who was dancing and having fun, and he was saying what, he was saying, you've been through a lot of problems and trouble lately, so I'm gonna give you some money, okay, because you suffered a lot. And he takes out a lot of money, and he just starts, this guy, right, in the dream, the guy who stood up on the stairs, he just starts to throw the money, okay, throw the money in the middle of the air to the people who are dancing and singing, and of course they just willingly comply, right? So they go and they take the money, right? Because who's gonna refuse free money, right? Someone's willingly just throwing money in the air, lots and lots and lots of money, right? And of course they're dancing, they're singing, and they're taking the money. But my friend who told me the dream, he said he was in the middle. He was in the middle of this road, and he understood, unlike the rest, alhamdulillah, by the grace of God, but he actually understood who this man was. He said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is him. This is the Antichrist. This is him. This is the Antichrist. And this is his way. He looked like a normal person, right? A normal person, completely normal person. And this is his way of getting people's attention. This is his way of getting people's trust. This is his way of luring people, right? Because the Antichrist, when he does appear, he's not going to claim to be God initially. He's not going to claim to be a prophet initially. He's going to be a normal person. A normal person. People are going to start to trust him. He's going to give people a lot of things, and then he's going to upgrade, level up, until he's going to claim to be a prophet. Okay, he's going to claim to be the upcoming Messiah. And then, not only that, he's going to claim after that to be God himself. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ طبعا, God forbid. Okay, so in other words, it's baby steps, but it's baby steps with in a bad way, right? Because he's luring people, he's paving the way, okay? He's getting people's trust, he's changing them 0.01% every day to the negative. Okay, but anyway, my friend in the middle, he understood what was going on, and he said to himself, oh my God, that's him, that's the Antichrist. Okay, and I must protect myself against him. Anyway, the scene shifted, and as it is mentioned in the hadith, that the Antichrist is going to pass everywhere. He's actually going to stay on the earth for 40 days. Okay, but these 40 days are different. The first day I think is like a year, the second day is like a month, the third day is like a week, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, the rest are just like normal days. أعتقد والله أعلم كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is what the Prophet is reported to have said, or according to my knowledge. والله أعلم, and God knows best. So this, my friend, he went home to protect himself, right? To protect himself, close the doors, do everything. Anyway, he found himself home, and he found himself 3 strangers with him at home. He doesn't know these people. An old man, right? An old man, elderly man with a walking stick he's never seen before, very thin man, and an old woman as well, wearing the veil and everything. Elderly woman, and a young girl. A young girl. Now, bear in mind, my friend, he's not married. He doesn't have children. His parents, they aren't like that. It weren't, they weren't his parents or anything. Just 3 random strangers, but 3 people that he wanted to help because they looked as if they were, good people, believers. So he said, okay, let's protect ourselves as soon as possible. So everybody, let's get in, and they all got into a room, like a bedroom, I think, or something, and he shut the door, and he locked it. He locked the door because, as I said, the Antichrist is going to pass through all the earth, right? It's going to go to every place, okay, luring people, and his temptation is fitna is incredibly strong, and it's incredibly tempting, and it's incredibly hard to resist, because you don't have money, he's going to give you money. You don't have water, he's going to give you water. You don't have whatever, he's going to give you whatever. Okay, so he's going to say, okay, just believe in me as a god, and the people will be like, yes, okay, give us water, give us money, give us everything, and we believe in you. And then that's it. Once a person believes in him, that's it. Oh, la ilaha illallah. Anyway, so my friend, yes, he locked the door, and he looked outside, and suddenly there was him, the Antichrist, there in front of him. Again, he looked normal, looked like a normal young person, dark skinned, very, very young. People say that he has like eyes, one eye is ripped off, I think, and one eye looks whatever. No, he looked like a normal person, just a regular person. It was actually 2 people outside. Okay, two people outside, and 2 people outside. And my friend, he told me he understood that these 2 people, one of them was the Antichrist, and the other one was the devil, because they were 2 people. And the second one, actually, he was like a ghost. He could pass the door, okay, because he was like a ghost, right? Because he's a jinn, right? Shaitan, jinn. So he was able to like put his head through the door to see, okay, to see my friend, and the 3 other people, as I said. But these 2 people, the Antichrist and the devil, they were waiting outside, okay, and they were talking normally, okay, and they looked like normal people, and they were saying, okay, why don't you open the door? Why don't you open the door in a nice way? And they were like, okay, no, we're just gonna talk, blah blah blah. And my friend immediately is like, no, don't even talk, don't even open your mouth, okay, because if you say anything, I might be weak enough, I might be silly enough to listen, because it's so mesmerizing and it's so tempting to, to believe to believe him, and to listen to him and to follow him, the Antichrist. So he was like, no, don't even talk, and he started immediately reciting the first 10 verses from Surat Al Kahf, okay, from Alhamdulillah, right? Alhamdulillah الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. The first 10 verses, which, as I said, if God forbid this does happen, that's a way of protecting yourself, right? A way of protecting oneself from the Antichrist. Reciting the first 10 verses of Surat Al Kahf or the last 10 verses, but I think mainly the 10 first verses. Alhamdulillah, right? Alhamdulillah الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا, until the end of the verses. And he was reciting the first 2 verses, raising his voice like as if, no, I can't hear you, I can't hear what you're saying, I can't hear what you're saying, I can't hear what you're saying, to the Antichrist and the devil. And my friend, even though he knows the Surat Al Kahf by heart, he told me that in the dream, even he himself started to stutter, to stutter, as if he was like, as if he'd stopped in the middle, or as if he's forgotten. And this is someone who he knows Surat Al Kahf by heart. He knows it very well, and he's recited it every Friday, right from when he was very young. So even my friend felt scared, but Alhamdulillah it worked, because after a while he looked again through the door and it was black. There was nobody there. They had disappeared. So anyway, it was a very interesting dream. And this is a very interesting khatira, a mix of so many different things together, as I said, because we have the sunset behind us, which brings us to Zul Qarnayn, which brings us to Surat Al Kahf, which brings us to the dream, which brings us to the Antichrist, which brings us to how to deal with the Antichrist. And it could be very, 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 very hard to deal with him, and it could be very, 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 very easy to deal with him. Hopefully we don't live these days. My friend woke up anyway, and it just so happened that today is a Friday, so he had a dream about it on Friday, which is very interesting. God knows best. Allah Alam, if it means, is there something happening soon? Does this just involve my friend, or does it involve someone else or something else, a bigger picture? Allahu Alam. But anyway, like I asked him if I could share, and he said yes, it's okay to share. Just as a reminder that number 1, you have to recite Surat Al Kahf, you have to memorize Surat Al Kahf, and number 3, of course, don't believe everything. Don't believe anything. Okay? Don't believe anything that you see. Don't believe everything that you see. Learn to think. Don't be emotional. Learn to think before you judge. Learn to have a thought process before you judge something, before you take a reaction. You don't have to have a reaction towards everything. Okay? Especially on social media. You don't have to like everything. You don't have to comment on everything. You don't have to share everything. Okay? Just input. Take it, okay? But you don't have to have a reaction. Okay? Take it with a pinch of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, as they say. Don't believe it. Okay? Because it's so easy for people to go with the flow. It's so easy for people to believe anything and to be like sheep. We're better than that. I'm better than that. You're better than that. We're all better than that. Okay? Don't believe everything you see. Be a better person, and think before you act. Think before you speak. Think before you judge. And لعله خير. Let's hope for the best. Anyway, this was my reflection, my thought process for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a like, a share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Good.